Greetings from Panglao. I've now decided to add my voice to my video so I can make my storytelling more than just a reel of moving images. So, for my first narrated video blog, I'm pleased to inform you I am back on Alona Beach on Bottle Island after 7 years absence. This is the place where I ended up after 2 years acting the maggot in Australia. It is here that I fell in love with a bar, the beautiful Birdwatchers establishment, which you will see in the photos. 7 years ago, I left Perth with a Corkonian buddy and drifted up through Indonesia en route for a circuit of Southeast Asia, which would take in several countries. However, I fell in love with a bar stool in Bottle, and the rest is history. For 6 months I sat on the same bar stool ordering drinks morning, noon and night, expecting some spiritual enlightenment of some sort, but failed miserably as I was looking outward instead of inward. I had a lot more soul searching to do before I got to Abbey Place, which included 3 brutal rock bottoms, the details of which I'll discuss another time. Suffice to say, it is a pleasure to be back on the beautiful beach without the monkeys on my back, and a pleasure to realise I in no way envy the gentlemen who are still drinking on that bar after 7 long years. So here I am, outside a franchise coffee house, opposite McDonald's and Jollibee, and meters from a Dunkin' Donuts. It's the toxic hand of capitalism creeping into the leafy backwater vibe of a tropical paradise. This one-horse town, 3 bars and a nightclub oasis, is fast turning into a western monstrosity. Out goes the overweight alcoholic, in comes the digital nomad, longing for a frothy frappuccino and an ever-faltering Wi-Fi connection which they deem necessary. The digital nomad takes over as the resilient, ever-striving local plies for a decent chunk of the tourism pie. But I digress. As a recovering addict, I have many fond memories of this place, but a few I prefer to forget. Because I bought my drugs on the internet, this paradise was a little different for me than the average backpacker. I viewed the beautiful ocean and crystal white sand beaches through the lens of a hefty bag of amphetamines. Whether I was drinking Tandoy or snorting some powder, this town was a Hunter S. Thompson cesspit of late night shenanigans, whiskey fueled rants as the sun came up, and dangerous cliff edge driving, always 1 minute away from absolute demise. And then it happened, the travelling drug addict's worst nightmare. I was banged up abroad. After one of my packages arrived, I went to the collection point as I always did, only to be followed out of the post office and arrested for trafficking. In what I can describe as the scariest 27 hours of my life, I watched as the local chief of police portrayed me as a paparazzi, portrayed me to the paparazzi as an international drug smuggling kingpin. I had to explain it was not crystal meth, it was a recently invented amphetamine replica which existed in a grey area of the law. I literally spent 27 hours in a place of absolute torture, in utter terror of the worst case scenario. I imagined Manila prison and 20 long years in a cell with barely space to breathe. I contemplated with great clarity how fast I would have to run at the wall with my head at the front in order to end my misery. I prayed to whatever higher power I had in my life at the time, and by the grace of all things divine, the nightmare came to an end. Alas, the substance had tested negative and I was released. The picture you will see is of me and a digital nomad named John, also in recovery, standing outside the same station, bringing Coca-Cola and cakes to 19 inmates who were crammed into the same cell. If my return to Panglao has done anything, it has confirmed my decision to stay sober 1 day at a time.